language use and communication. Let me check your attendance first. Андурахим Ошахноза. Андурахал Владимироза. Ачилова Ируда. Исмайлова Саида. Махидинова Камалова. Насимова Мадия. Нигматова Нозима. Нигматова Рушона. Ардабова Гульхаева. Рафиджанова Рушона. Рустамов Азим. Сатарова Райхона. Шарипова Райхона. Турабекова Шахноза. Хамурадова Ширин. Курамова Интизор. Okay, so the first activity is emoji translation challenge activity. Usually you use some emojis when you send messages to your group mates, to your friends, and these emojis reflect your attitude towards the situation, towards the person, etc. And here we have these statements, and you should choose appropriate emojis and understand how the meaning or the tone of your message changes when you change the emoji. So you will come to the board one by one and explain what emoji you choose and why you have chosen this emoji and how this emoji changes the meaning of your message. So the first one is great. So what do you think? Great. Shahnoza?
For example, this emoji means great, confidently, and chill. Meaning the tone will be great. And that's it.
All right, thank you. So, what other emoji can be used for this message? And how can it change the meaning of the message? Iroda? Okay.
Giving the emotions like happy and making great, good, excited.
Right, it deals with excitement. Right, thank you. The next one, the next message is thanks. It is quite usual. So, what kind of emojis can be used when you send the message thanks? Well, Martina?
You can use this emoji to thanks.
Right. And what does it express? What does it express?
It's thanks.
Sincere gratitude.
Right. Sincere gratitude for something, right? Yeah. Thank you. And for example, if you use this emoji when you send the message sent, what will change?
The tone will change.
Tone. What kind of tone is it?
Thanks.
It is not thanks, but
Polite. Like
frustrated.
frustrated, something neutral. Indifferent, right? Shade meaning is indifference, right? You. Okay, the next one, interesting. So, what do you think about the interesting? Each emoji can be used for it.
use this emoji.
Mm-hmm.
How this emoji means curious, interesting.
Suspicious, even suspicious. All right, Ivan. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So what else? For interesting. Hmm? Which emoji can be used for interesting? For example, if you use this one, how will it change the tone of your message? Hmm? Critical. Mm-hmm. Critical attitude. Critical attitude. So, and the conclusion for this activity is that even when you use different types of emoji, they can change the tone of the utterance, the tone of your message, and your interlocutor can easily understand it. Okay, thank you for your participation. Now let's turn to the topic of today's lesson. As I've told, the topic is pragmatics, the study of language use and communication. So today we'll analyze the following points. The first one is understanding semantics, and the other 2 points deal with non-literal communication and indirect communication. So as for understanding pragmatics, what is pragmatics? Pragmatics is a branch of linguistics which studies how people use language in real-life situations to communicate meaning beyond the literal meaning of words they would say or use. So, and pragmatics is based on uh, interpreting meaning in context, in real life context. Or this type of context is called extra-linguistic context. So what is context? In general, what is context? What does the term context mean?
Message we want to express. Or in the it's like the main idea of the story.
For example, when you'd like to identify the particular meaning of a word, you need lexical context, right? What is lexical context? Lexical context is a minimum stretch of utterance which helps you to identify the particular meaning of a word. For example, the word heavy. Heavy is a polysemantic word. What does it mean? I mean, polysemantic word. What is the meaning of this term, polysemantic word? Words which have several related meanings, right? Several related meanings. And the word heavy is polysemantic word. You may use this word in different phrases. For example, heavy rain, heavy bag, and heavy industry. And you can understand the meaning of each of this word in each phrase. For example, heavy rain. What does it mean? Heavy rain. Mm-hmm. Raining cats and dogs, for example. Right. Uh-huh. Heavy bag implies, what does it imply? Weight. Mm-hmm. What about heavy industry?
Short.
Industry that produces certain types of metals. Mhm. So pragmatics is based on what we say and what we mean, what we imply. For example, if I ask the question, what time is it? How can you interpret my question? It depends on situation. For example, if somebody is late and I ask this question, what time is it? What do I mean? What do I imply? Why are you late? I don't say it directly. Why are you late? What I imply. I use more polite form, and it is a hint for not to be late next time, right? So that is pragmatic meaning. Now let's turn to non-literal communication and indirect communication. From one point of view, they have much in common, but they are different. For example, as for non-literal communication, we use figurative language to construct our message. And we use different figurative means. For example, metaphors, ironies, hyperboles, similes, and idiomatic expressions. He is a rock. It is a metaphor, right? When you characterize a person as a rock, what does it mean?
He's reliable.
Reliable. What else? Strong. Strong. Right. Or, for example, great joke. When it is said with irony. When do you say it with irony? Great joke. Mistake or failed. Or failed, right now. Or, for example, idiomatic expressions. Kick the bucket, it means die. And by the way, it is used in informal situations. So that refers to non-literal communication. And as for indirect communication, the main feature of it, that you make your utterance polite. So your intention is politeness or diplomacy. For example, it's getting late. It's getting late. So it is a hint for what?
Time goes on.
Right, it's high time to change the activity, for example, or it's getting late. Right, what else?
Or maybe we may miss the opportunity to do something.
To do something, right, to do something. But it depends on the context of situation or extra linguistic context. Now we'll watch one video. It is a part of a lecture delivered by famous British linguist David Crystal. You will watch this video and afterwards we'll discuss it.
Pronunciation, phonology, but also different aspects of language are important. But they're all important to one much more important concept. Now, a pragmatic perspective is really essential. How pragmatic? People often ask me when they're studying languages, say that what's the most important aspect that motivate all the work you do on language? People think grammar is important. Vocabulary, that's important too. Pronunciation, phonology, but all the aspects of language are important. But they're all subordinate to one much more important concept, and that's the notion that goes under the heading of pragmatics. Now, a pragmatic perspective is really essential, because pragmatics answers the question, why? It's not just a matter of doing language, so you get saying, oh, this happens, and that happens, and that happens. Look, he's using that particular word, or she's using that particular grammatical construction. The question is, why are they using it in this way? And that's what pragmatics does. If you want a definition of pragmatics, it's the study of the choices you make when you use language, the reasons for those choices, and the effects that those choices convey. So when you're studying a piece of language and you say, oh, look, that person has used a lot of passive construction, or that person has done such and such, always ask the question, why did they do it? And when you're asking the question why, you're basically saying, why did he do it that way rather than doing it that way? You see, there's always a choice. If you use a passive construction and say something like, the cat was chased by the mouse, well, then you didn't say the cat chased the mouse, or the mouse chased the cat. Whichever way you're doing it, you use the passive. Why did you do that? And the answer will always be to do with something about the context, something about the meaning you have in mind, something about emphasizing one aspect of the sentence rather than the other. Or in vocabulary, if you use a particular word or use a particular way of addressing somebody, names, tones of tread. You meet somebody, hello, John. Hello, Joan. Hello, Mr. Jones. Hello, Jonesy. Hello, JJ. Hello, Nobber. Well, why do you say Nobber? Because you and Jones go back a long way and you know his nickname. Every one of those choices tells me something about the history of your relationship with that person. And pragmatics is the study of those choices. Why did you call him that name rather than the other name? Now here's the point. Every aspect of language, whether it's vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, spelling, punctuation, whatever it is, when you actually explore it, there's a reason for its use. Pragmatics is the study of those reasons. That's why it's so important. In a word, pragmatics allows you to answer the question, why?
Okay, so what have you learned from this video? The key question that pragmatics answers is the question why. It is repeated several times here by David Crystal, right here. So what is pragmatics? What definition of pragmatics was given by David Crystal?
Pragmatics is kind of choices we make. We study its reasons and effects of our choices.
Effects of our choices, right here. Thank you. Who wants to add?
Context,
Context, vocabulary, the meaning of the words as well. And sometimes it's like Roman terms, which address to whom it's very fascinating.
Right. And one of the examples was about the terms of the dress. How do you address people? For example, Mr. Jones, Jonesy, JJ, and Noble. So when can you address, in what situation can you address a person as Mr. Jones?
It's a professional.
Right. Professional sphere, and it is a formal situation, right? What about Jonesy? Informal.
They make it friends.
Friends, where he's your brother. Right, you. So what about JJ? JJ and Nova. These nicknames, right, emphasize close relations with this person. And what about the last one, Nova? That is far from JJ or Jones and us. What about Nova? It indicates nickname of the person. Right here. Well, now we'll discuss some strategies for non-literal and indirect communication. So we'll analyze the overstatement, read the sentences, and explain their meanings. Identify the strategy that is used in these utterances. So you will work in two groups. You will work in two groups. Well, join them, please. They can choose. You have to join them. So you should discuss the meanings and identify strategies. will comment on that. So is everything clear? So if it is indirect communication, it implies politeness and diplomacy. If it is non-literal communication, it implies the usage of figurative language, mildly. Ready? Are you ready? So let's begin. The first one is overstatement. Overstatement. Let's start.
First, no one understands me. And this meaning is I feel misunderstood or not listening to. And strategy is overstatement to express emotional frustration.
Right. No one understands me.
I feel
So
misunderstood or
when you say no one, who do you imply? Particular group of people, not no one in the world, but, for example, your parents or your friends.
people.
Right.
If we wouldn't give this word, the meaning is the word is bad. We use this overstatement in this kind of situations when to show strong dislike.
Right.
So some kind of
The food is so disgusting that a pig wouldn't eat. All right, sure. Thank you.
Third one.
Understood.
Third one, her eyes opened as wide as saucers.
Saucers.
Saucers. Uh, it means she was very surprised or shocked. We use this overstatement like with vivid imagery.
Alright. And as white as sauces is called similar. From stylistic point of view.
The fourth one is can make a shot today. Meaning is I'm playing badly in sports right now. The strategy is exaggeration of personal performance.
Right, it is an exaggeration. And it means that you are so exhausted that you are not able to fulfill different activities. Right, thank you.
The dog is over there. Meaning you should be polite or passive aggressive and strategy under red comment.
Right, thank you.
I'm sure the cat likes having its tail pulled. The meaning is stop pulling the cat's tail. And the strategy is criticism to the sarcasm.
Right, so it is an indirect communication. Right, it is sarcastic.
Second is you are the boss. Meaning is you are in charge. It depends on the context. Could be serious or ironic, depending on the tone. And the strategy is indirect surveillance for passive resistance.
Right, thank you. Well,
The next one, the White House belongs to the agreement. It means that the US government criticized the agreement.
right.
Here,
So the white,
here the strategy of the family is used because a building is being used to represent
institution, right. So it is based on contiguity. Metronomy is based on contiguity.
Second one is I have got 3 hands here to help, meaning it's I have 3 people helping me. And strategy sets up using hands to refer to people.
So hands implies workers.
Yes.
Workers. It is also.
Down in Texas. Total are only $200 a kid. The meaning is each call costs $200.
Right.
Strategy methodology, KID stands for each animal.
Right. For each animal.
She's a role player. It's like she's really energetic person.
Right. And it is a metaphor.
It's a metaphor showing personality through this composition.
Right. Thank you.
Next is Kim is a lot of eyes. It is like Kim shows her emotions, like emotionally calm or some crazy. And it is metaphor describing personality, imagery, like this.
Right. And this metaphor is all the US one.
Yes.
Time is money. It's so built actually we waste the time because time is more important in our life. It's a strategy. Time is economic humans to
So, and there is an equality between time and money. If you waste your time, you waste your money.
oh
Okay. I have read all of Chomsky, meaning I have read all of Chomsky's writings. It's a metonymy using a person's name to stand for their writings and works.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for your interpretations. And now you will analyze the difference and similarities between non-literal and indirect types of communication. You should present it in the form of a Venn diagram, which consists of 2 circles. The first circle will characterize the indirect communication. The second circle will characterize non-literal communication. And as for the middle or overlapping part of the circle, you should indicate the features which are common for non-literal communication and indirect communication. So you will work in 2 teams. For the team, so please, let's see closer. So sit closer. So use this theoretical material. Use this theoretical material. And create a Venn diagram. Mind that you should use only key words, not sentences. Key words, not sentences. Use this theoretical material, please.
So we should do it here.
Right, you should do it. So work together, give ideas. Two planes. Yes, they should overlap. Two circles should overlap. Use only key terms or keywords. Speak English. Mhm. Speak English, please. Ideas, please. Mind that you should write the features that are common for these two types of communication. Common features. Give some examples. And give examples. Okay, ready?
Okay.
So let's pass to the presentation of your ideas. Go to the places, take seat. Okay. So the first group. Madina, Saida, and Irina. Please come up and present your ideas to your groupmates.
Like non-literal communication includes like superfluous idioms, like meaning differs, cultural or context knowledges, interpretations, like expressive effects, and like this kind of things includes all yourselves. And the next is
Second one is indirect communication.
Listen to your groupmates attentively, please.
It's like a message without speaking, and requests, refusals, and suggestions also in indirect communication.
Right, thank you.
Communicative attractions and this is richness and play of speakers too and scholarly lawyer and express
Implied meanings.
Implied
Meanings.
signal group identity or
Expressing emotions.
they are common.
Thank you. These are common features. Both of them. Right, Sheila. Thank you. Do you have any questions? To this group?
We have some examples.
Two examples.
Both of non-literal and indirect communication.
like non-literal is your star. Like when you give your emotions, like different meanings. What a lonely mess. And he got a here first of stone. It's the idioms and giving the emotions, like making the difference.
Second one is indirect communication. Do you happen to have a pen? It's like polite request, like without giving answer, just yes or no, we can answer it like this. And second one is well, I guess there are other candidates. It's suggestion in a polite way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation, for examples. Thank you very much. So the second group. So present your ideas, but please don't present it as a Venn diagram. But please just as a
We divided our paper into two parts. This part is non-literal and indirect. And talking about non-literal words don't mean exactly what they say. Indirect means the speaker doesn't say something straight out.
Non-literal includes jokes, irony, and sarcasm.
Indirect being polite or message.
Non-literal is about meaning behind the word.
Indirect means speech to avoid being too direct.
Non-literal is used to be funny.
Indirect, it is like a read between the lines.
Turning to examples, the first example is it's raining cats and dogs. It means that raining heavily.
Example for indirect, it's getting a bit chilly in here. It's implied request to close the window or doors.
The next example, a great job. It means sarcasm after the mistake.
For indirect, I am a kind of busy tonight. It is implied refusal to the invitation.
Right. Thank you. And what features are common for non-literal and indirect types of communication?
Politeness and face saving.
Right. Politeness and face saving.
They are used to soften messages.
Right.
And it is avoid to the direct message and
Confusion. Right. It helps to avoid confusion and misunderstanding between interlocutors. Right. You are. Thank you for your presentation. Do you have any questions? Thank you. Now let's review the material studied during today's lesson and answer these questions, please. So it is for you. You will work in 4 groups. So it's yours and yours. Yes, you may write in your book. One by one. So give all the details, give your ideas. Discuss it together. Give your ideas. One person starts speaking, the other continues. So recollect the examples. give your own examples while answering these questions.
Yes.
So your group is ready. Okay, what about your group? Are you ready? Yes. Almost. Are you ready with examples? Mhm. Okay, so ready?
Yes.
Ready? What about your group? Ready?
Yes.
So the first question from your group. Read your question, please.
How can misunderstanding emerge from this that works literally?
The next misunderstanding can happen when the cultural norms of the listener and the speaker can differ. For instance, different views tone also can cause for misunderstanding because the tone is when the tone is unclear, making it hard to tell if something sarcastic or ironic or something. Misunderstandings can happen when the speaker overestimates the listener's shared knowledge.
Okay, and what should you do in order to avoid this misunderstanding? What strategies can be used
Express our
for avoiding misunderstanding?
Express our feelings clearly.
Right, your message should be concise and clear from semantic point of view.
And we should use more easy words in order to understand in order to give our ideas clearly.
And we should use proper tone also.
Right, tone also influences the message you deliver to your audience or to your interlocutor.
For example, when we say great, it should our audience can understand it in a what can I say? In a very
Positively.
positive way.
Positively.
When we change our tone, it creates another meaning.
Right. So, and you mentioned the term tone. It refers to the sphere of paralanguage means, melodics of our speech, our intonation. Right. Thank you.
Okay.
So the next question.
The question is, when might non-literal or indirect strategies be more appropriate than direct speech? Non-literal and indirect strategies are more appropriate when you want to change the topic. When somebody is going to criticize you, you can just avoid the topic by using metaphors, sarcasm, and you can use idioms.
Right.
For example, in hierarchical or formal settings where directness might seem rude, when dealing with sensitive topics, for example, illness, failure, disagreement, you can use metaphors. In cross-cultural communication, where directness may be perceived as impolite. In humorous, poetic, or theoretical contexts, where vivid language is more engaging than plain speech.
When you don't like the tone of the speaker or the message he or she delivers to you, you can use what? Indirect
or non-literal.
non-literal acts of communication. You can easily switch to it. And it serves as a hint for your dislike. Right. Thank you. The next
Our
question.
question
why do people use non-literal or indirect communication? People use non-literal or indirect communication for several pragmatics, purpose to be polite or avoid offending. For example, it's getting late instead of please leave.
Also, it can be used for expressing emotions more deeply. For example, people can use metaphors like "he's a fire," or to show argument, humor, or suffering.
Right.
Like "great job after mistake."
And to build or manage social relationships, such as showing respect, humility, or empathy. To allow for flexibility or subtlety in a sensitive situation. For example, giving criticism indirectly.
Criticism. When you criticize somebody indirectly, when you hint on something. Right. Thank you. So read your question first, please.
How does tone, culture, and context influence interpretation?
Right. Cultural context also can influence the interpretation of your statements, of your utterance.
For example, tone, voice emphasize facial expression, and without it, we can express our feelings. It helps to express sarcasm as well, and especially in written form, in non-literal meaning can be missed. And also cultural shapes, like how indirectly and non-literally language are used. Like some cultures value directly, like for example, is German, British. Other value like indirect is Japanese, British.
Some because or items may be found specific and not easy understood in code language. For example,
The same phrase can mean different things in different settings. For example, you are the boss can be sincere or sarcastic according to the situation, what the situation is. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you for your answers. And the last activity is based on the analysis of some quotations from the famous novel written by Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So we will discuss this quotation dedicated to name, you will speak about other word and use this one, alone. So comment on it. So you should read and comment on it. So analyze these quotations from pragmatic point of view. Ready? So let's comment on these quotations. So the first one, read your quotation, please.
So,
Read your quotation, please.
why do you sit out here all alone? Said Alice. Why? Because there's nobody with me. why it's Humpty Dumpty? Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? So the Alice question it seems straightforward, but it's not, because it is not only asking why she is alone, he or she is alone, but it expresses the Alice's wonder, and it's the feeling that she is amazed about why he's alone.
Right. So, for example, if you ask somebody, why do you see? What is your intention? What is your intention? Why are you sitting here all alone? What is your
It's
intention?
surprise.
No, it is not surprise. It is your desire to help this person, to support him or her, right? Somehow, right? Some invitation to join you, for example, not to be alone. But Humpty Dumpty interpreted directly.
Because there's nobody with me, and it misses this answer misses the Alice's pragmatic point of view.
Right, sure. Right. Thank you. So the next one.
My name is Alisa, but it's a stupid name enough. Humpty Dumpty inserted impatiently. What does it mean? Must a name mean something? Alisa asked doubtfully. Of course, it must. It must. Humpty Dumpty said with a short laugh. My name means the shape I am, and a good, handsome shape it is too. With a name like yours, you might be any shape, almost.
Right. So,
In this situation, Humpty Dumpty performs a dismissive evaluation when he say it's a stupid name, enough, not just stating an opinion, but insulting Alice's name identity. Alice's question, must a name mean something? Its function was a genius and challenge to Humpty Dumpty assumption.
Right.
A request for explaining. Humpty performance that name must have intrinsic meaning and reflect identity. His statement with a name like yours, you might be any shape. Carries the implication that name should define or risk it what seeing can be.
Right. So, my name is Alice, but this name seems to be meaningless for Humpty Dumpty because his name is associated with his shape, right? You know that all names are meaningful. And when your parents give you your name, they imply what? They want you to be strong, healthy, beautiful, prosperous, rich, etc. But it doesn't mean that your identity coincides with your name. So your personal identity coincides with your name. So, but from Humpty Dumpty's point of view, the name Alice is meaningless because it is not associated with any
This
shape.
dialect highlights cross-contextual miscommunication. It's a barrier between Alice and Humpty Dumpty. Alice from the real word trades means as levels. Humpty Dumpty in a wonderland logic trades language as motivate and literal, giving words personal and often meaning.
Right. Thank you for your comments and the last.
Benign is a word whose states in the rather colorful choice. Means just what I choose to do, neither more nor less. The question is, says Alice, whether we can make words mean different things. That's all. The question is, says Humpty Dumpty, which is to master. That's all. Here we can comment that Humpty Dumpty, as far as an individualistic, speech-centered
view of meaning.
Mhm.
He thinks that the speaker decides what the words will mean.
Mhm.
But Alice raises a pragmatic issue of shared understanding, and she believes that language relies on convention and mutual recognition of meaning.
Mhm. Right. So, will you add anything?
Pragmatic comments and communicate effectiveness from a pragmatic perspective, meaning areas from shared use within a speech community.
Mhm.
Speaker meaning conventional meaning is Humpty focus on speaker meaning what he intends.
Right.
And it
But-
means just what I choose it to mean. Alice leans towards conventional meaning that works in meaning through social use and agreement.
Mhm. Thank you. So all words are meaningful. All these meanings are fixed in dictionaries. Some words are polysemantic words, which have more than one meaning. But you should use the words properly, and it depends on the context, linguistic context or extra-linguistic context. Right. Do you have any questions concerning today's lesson? Do you have any questions? No questions. Okay. So your home task. You are given 5 proverbs, and you should give their meanings and give situations which illustrate the usage of these proverbs. And use the knowledge of non-literal and indirect types of communication. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.